Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing on our agenda is, I believe Commissioner D'Amelio had a comprehensive plan meeting. And Steve, you want to introduce Kelly to give us an update?
Thank you, Bill. As everyone knows, we initially tried to join with Radnor to complete a comprehensive plan, and unfortunately, our efforts were unsuccessful, so we decided, with the board's approval, to move along. And so we did have a meeting last week, and I'll have Kelly give an update as to where we are. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So, the steering committee update for the comprehensive plan. There we go. Thank you so much. As Mr. D'Amelio, or Commissioner D'Amelio, had mentioned, we did decide to move forward as a single municipality without Radnor back on September 4th. Our current comprehensive plan is from 1988. We did an addendum in 1995, and further added an addendum in 2009 for the Oakmont and Haverford Road corridor. Clearly, this needs to be updated further, and we need to get moving. So currently, we've met with the property committee recently to discuss what we would like to do, or some ideas for what to do with the old township building property. We've got some ideas from a consultant. I really wanted to make sure that we had an idea of what we wanted to do moving forward with that property before really digging into the comprehensive plan, because it is an anchor of the Oakmont corridor from the 2009 comprehensive plan. So it was really kind of an important piece of that puzzle that isn't set in stone by any means, but certainly something that we needed ideas for before moving forward and getting a consultant for the comprehensive plan. Since then, we have the steering committee has revised the RFP for the consultant. We've made a few lists and had discussions about what our key issues are that we want to pursue, and discussed goals and objectives for the future. And we're really kind of getting that together, and we're pretty close. So what we want to do, another thing we've discussed with the steering committee, is how we want our comprehensive plan to look and feel. And if you've ever looked at the 1988 plan, it's big and thick and just lots of words and extremely boring and hard to understand and hard to read. And that's what they used to look like. Today, they're much more dynamic, and there's pictures, and it's easier for people to understand. And that's, I think, important, because having the community look at this and it not be just a narrative of, volumes, and showing like this is what we want, this is what we have, makes it more accessible. And it's also really important that it's actually implementable and something that we can do and use as a tool for the community moving forward. We've, have a little bit of a timeline. Next week, I hope to have the RFP out for the consultant and start soliciting proposals for that. We're hoping for a deadline for submissions by mid-January, to evaluate those proposals by the end of January, and to make a recommendation. Hopefully, have them, have our finalized, a few candidates selected to make proposal and make a presentation in front of the board. And, then from there, some long-term timelines is putting out resident surveys, doing listening sessions, data review sessions, town hall meetings, reviews by the planning commissions, and then final presentations, and then, implementing the plan. So we're talking about, 12 to 15 months, I think, is an aggressive timeline, but not necessarily completely out of the realm of possibility. And I was told to keep this super quick so that everybody could get to the football game. So that's all I have. Do I have any questions or thoughts?
Any questions?
No, I just wasn't sure. You talked about the township building and trying to make a decision on that before we did the comprehensive plan?
Not a decision. We wanted to meet with the consultant to get their thoughts on what would be a best use. Certainly not a decision, but ideas. Because at this point, I think there are a lot of ideas floating around, and some of them, depending on what your goal is, people are very strongly thinking one thing or another. And so getting like an outside opinion on that, I thought was an important piece before moving forward with a consultant for the entire, township of, for future land use. I kind of wanted to narrow down a couple ideas of what the best idea for that property would be.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing. We should still, I believe, and Mr. Gentili can correct me if I'm wrong, or Amy, I think we had money still budgeted for this year, right?
We did have money in the 2018 budget, yes, and then it does not carry over anything we don't use. An appropriation doesn't carry over, but we did fund some additional monies in the 19 budget.
Good. Just wanted to make that clear so the board is aware of that. Thank you.
For the benefit of the public and frankly for my benefit, can you remind me again who is on the steering committee?
Sure. The steering committee is chaired by Commissioner D'Amelio. I am on the steering committee. Brian Barrett of our Recreation Department, Chris Gallman, who is on the Planning Commission, but is also a member of the HPD and an architect, and Angelo Capuzzi, who is also on the Planning Commission and a retired civil engineer, and Rich Kerr, who is a resident and I believe retired traffic engineer. He retired. I didn't want to early retire him by accident.
Don't we have a subcommittee of commissioners that are dealing with the comprehensive plan?
We do. We do. And you're on it.
I know.
I believe you are.
So I'm enjoying this presentation. I just don't know anything about it until tonight. Should the three of us, the other three members of the committee, come to the steering committee meeting?
Well, I did ask that, and we did speak about that last week. So we are going to do that. We are going to get together.
I mean,
This was, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the Planning and Zoning Committee, I'm just, they sat, you guys sat the steering committee. I know this was forever ago. So that was the intention of, that the steering committee was, so you guys didn't have to kind of worry yourself with revising an RFP and all that kind of fun stuff. So, I mean, you're certainly welcome to be included in those meetings, but it was kind of so you guys didn't have to deal with the nitty-gritty, detail-y kind of stuff.
I appreciate that, and but I think it'd be important for us to reassemble our four-person.
I totally agree. And when we planned the meeting of the committee that you are on, if you recall, I did say we need to get
You did, yes.
the subcommittee together to talk about these issues and to make sure that they have input and can add to whatever they want to add that they feel is valid and important. So Larry, we will do that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I just hadn't missed anything.
This meeting was actually just a kickstart again because Radner backed out.
No, I appreciate that, and I had heard the unfortunate news about Radner. But okay, great. I just wanted to, I think myself and the other members of the subcommittee are as eager as everybody to get to work on this comprehensive plan. Thanks.
Who is this? I know now it's you, Commissioner D'Amelio. Who is the
Mario
commissioners?
I'm on the committee, and so is Commissioner Garrett.
McGarry.
Okay. So it's not zoning and planning that was just mentioned.
It's the Zoning and Planning Committee.
The zoning and
Commissioner-
planning committee this year is Commissioner D'Amelio, me, Commissioner McCluskey, and Commissioner McGarity.
I believe when the steering committee was made, it was probably 2017.
Okay, then that's a different.
Oh, so I'm
that's
not
different
on this
from.
committee?
Oh, you're out.
I'm trying to figure.
I understand. No, that, I can double check when that meeting was, but it was back when Radner and we were still involved. And we were at the
It
old
would make
building.
sense to me, since it's taken 172 years to do this, and it could possibly take more than just another couple months to do it, that we have an ad hoc comprehensive plan committee, and not rely on the year-to-year or, how the committees change. So we can do that. Our president of the board.
We certainly can do that.
Yeah.
I have a question, though. I'm concerned that we're holding up a long-range comprehensive plan over one tiny building.
Oh, no, that's not.
Because it sounds like that. I mean, the property committee has also got a consultant looking at uses, and we're looking at, both commercial, rental, ownership, sell, all sorts of things are on the table that we have to get there.
Referring to.
But, I mean, the comprehensive plan is a long-range 15, 20-year plan that's a living, breathing document. When, one building shouldn't hold up the
Absolutely.
RFP.
The
and
only
stuff.
reason that I did want to do that meeting before moving forward with the steering committee was due to its prominent location with the 2009 addendum as an anchor in the Oakmont corridor. So that's why I did want to hold that meeting with the consultant, with the property committee that we had a month or so.
Yeah, you have to include that building.
Oh, no, it'll definitely be included, but this is a township-wide comprehensive.
Well, I believe me, that's not something that is going to hold up this.
No, I mean, everything else has been working, the other gears have been working while that was going on, but as far as finalizing.
I mean, we don't know, I mean, there's a lot of things going on about the use of that building for the next year, year and a half, depending on what happens with the library and some other stuff in the township. So I really don't want to see it be this sticking point.
Well,
Okay,
I just was hoping to get some ideas
okay,
prior to.
thank you. Any other questions for Kelly?
Just to clarify then, we're still waiting for the consultant report on the township building.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Additionally, Commissioner Siegel, now that I'm thinking about it, the steering committee was formed by the Zoning and Planning Committee definitely back in 2017 because we were at the old building and we moved here in December. So it was prior to you being set.
Thank you very much.
Still my question. The other is just, we're still waiting for that report.
Correct.
Okay.
Are there any other committee updates by any other commissioners? Being none, I'll ask the chief of police to come forward for his crime update.
Thank you, Commissioner. The monthly chief's report for the police department for November 2018. We had 31 criminal arrests, 1 juvenile arrest, 279 traffic citations, 27 non-traffic citations, 234 written warnings. 59 tickets were written by alert, which were police officers. 240 were written by the meter officers. We had a strong arm robbery at Barnaby's. Suspect assaulted and took his ex-girlfriend's cell phone. A warrant was obtained, and the suspect turned himself in the next day. Had a burglary on the unit block of White Marsh, entry through an unlocked door and window with jewelry and cash missing. Investigation is ongoing. 2 aggravated assaults on 1119, the 200 block of Parkview, which is a construction site up there. One of the workers was assaulted by another worker, and the suspect was arrested at the scene. At 1901 Old Westchester Pike, which is Barnaby's, a suspect was ejected from the bar and began to assault police while being arrested for public drunkenness. He was taken into custody and charged with assaulting law enforcement. We have 12 thefts from autos. And it looks like the East Coast gang is back along the Y and up at the dog park. So we have taken steps once again to hopefully make an arrest there, but it's happening again in our area. They come and go, they move to a different area, but they're back again. And the usual MO is they break windows when the people are in the Y or exercising or at the dog park because people leave valuables in their car, pocketbooks, cell phones, and that sort of stuff. So they pull up next to their car, sit there for a minute, break a window. We go back to look at it on tape. We can identify the suspect, but they're usually stolen cars, rented cars, and if they get a credit card, they'll go into a bank, try to use it, or go to the bank machine. You get a picture of them, but there's no way to arrest them because they're long gone. Then the next group moves in after that. But we are making some attempt to see what we can do with that. We have 1 bicycle theft The unit block of Vernon Road, a bicycle was taken off the front porch sometime in the late evening hours. We had 16 canine usages, one arrest out of that, and what the canine officers have been doing, we call it a free sniff of a vehicle. When an officer makes a car stop, the canine officer is allowed to take the dog and walk around the car, and the dog there's no violation of anybody's rights. He just smells around the car. If the dog picks up a scent, at that point, we take the next step. So they've been doing more and more with that. That's why you see an increase in canine usage just now. So that's my report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief?
Thank you.
Thank you. You can see from the agenda, our agenda this evening, the big item next week is the final 2019 budget. Are there any questions for the staff on the budget adoption? Any concerns? I will mention that the Resolution 2110-2018, the bill of sale for the sewer facility at Haverford Reserve, will be pulled from the agenda next week. It'll go on the following month's agenda for closer scrutiny and some paperwork that has to be done, completed.
Can I ask a question about that, Bill, even though it's not
Yes.
on the agenda? That just relates to the carriage homes. What about the condominiums? Is that, I assume that's not going to be done until they're completed?
I don't believe it does have to do with the, Kelly, can you comment on that? Kelly and
Sure.
Dave?
Oops, sorry. Ooh, okay. It is for the dedication of the sewer facilities, for that portion of the development.
The carriage homes?
Just that, yeah, but we're just talking about the sewer main.
Goldenberg's
all.
Goldenberg's project?
Yep.
Not
just-
Polig.
Right, just for that portion.
And I assume Polig will come back when he's finished his final condominium?
Sometime during or shortly thereafter.
Yeah, so this is
You
the,
know, as soon as you know, I'm sorry, Kelly.
No, go ahead.
As soon as you know the construction's progressing the next building enough to not put the sewer in danger of harm, then we'd be ready to accept dedication of the
Yeah.
part on the Polish side.
okay, thanks. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions on any agenda item for next week?
I just wanted to bring up, the traffic ordinance is going to be on Hampstead Road. This is another SEPTA parking. Hampstead is the next street down from Crest, where in May we had resident-only parking from 8 to 11. Parking's now moved in a block down. The residents will talk about the issues, but, I think this board needs to come up with some systemic approach to parking, or if we keep approving and there's not going to be places to park.
I've been saying that for 10 years.
Yep.
And we're no closer, other than one day we'll probably not allow anyone to park anywhere.
Any other comments or questions? There being none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.